Hello, and welcome to your Government in Action. I'm your host, Joy Burns-Roger. During his remarks at the first ever National Computer Incident Response Team Stakeholders Engagement Symposium on August 23, 2022, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, noted that it was an exciting time for digital transformation in the country, and cybersecurity was at the core of this revolutionary time. The National Computer Incident Response Team, he said, is the first ever of its kind in the country. Todd Isaacs has that story.
While addressing the Computer Incident Response Team, CIRT, Stakeholder Engagement Symposium held at Super Club Breezes recently, Prime Minister Davis pointed out that the National CIRT will serve as a focal point for coordinating cybersecurity incident response to cyber attacks, providing cybersecurity support services to government, private organizations, and Bahamian citizens.
The development of the cybersecurity posture in the country underpins the objectives for digital transformation and the establishment of the CIRT as is a critical resource. The National CIRT will serve as a focal point for coordinating cybersecurity incident response to cyber attacks, providing cybersecurity support services to government, private organizations, and Bahamian citizens, particularly those in critical infrastructure and essential services in order to defend against malicious cyber activities. In our blueprint for change, we identified cybersecurity as one of the critical initiatives for accelerating the country's economic growth and development. We also recognize that cybersecurity and cyber resilience are essential to developing a digital society and secure and protect every citizen of the Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity is a journey, one that we cannot take alone. Cybersecurity is a whole community effort. Government, industry, and individual citizens, we all have a part to play. I'm delighted to see you all here today to engage in discussions with our cybersecurity experts and learn from their experience in building national cyber resilience. The National CIRT Establishment Project started in March 2021. Many activities have been organized during the past year to assess our cybersecurity posture and enhance our cyber resilience. These activities, which many of you have already been a part of, include the CIRT Readiness Assessment and Incident Response Training, Cybersecurity Capability Maturity Model Assessment, developed by the Global Cyber Security Capacity Center at the University of Oxford, and most importantly, the National Cybersecurity Strategy. The National Cybersecurity Strategy, which outlines the country's cybersecurity strategic principles, guidelines, and objectives, is in its final draft and is being prepared for Cabinet's approval. The strategic assessment was conducted with the engagement of cross-functional stakeholders across the public and private sectors. We expect that the implementation of the National Cybersecurity Strategy will improve the security of our digital infrastructure and ultimately contribute to its broader socioeconomic growth.
Prime Minister Davis noted in the Bahamas they had seen a rise in digital threats and malicious cyber activities,
including data breaches to public infrastructure, losses from digital fraud, and illicit financial flows, amongst other activities. Cybersecurity is the crucial foundation for advancing our utilization of ICT and managing cyber risks. The CIRT Bahamas' mission, and I quote, to improve the country's cybersecurity posture through proactive identification and management of cyber risks, collaborated cyber information sharing and education while protecting the constitutional rights of all Bahamians, close quote, is both clear, achievable, and evokes a sense of pride and community. Our collaboration with our friends and partners across the globe, specifically information sharing at the regional and sub-regional levels on cybersecurity capacity building and development, will better position the Bahamas to deal with increasingly sophisticated cyber threats. Consistent with these advances will be our commitment to modernizing our legal framework to support our cybersecurity initiatives and to be strong and resilient against cyber crimes.
For Your Government in Action, I am Todd Isaacs.
Stakeholders are calling a contract signed between the government via the Public Hospitals Authority and the Bahamas Nurses Union on August 24, 2022, at the Office of the Prime Minister, a very significant and transformative one that focuses on retention and properly compensates nurses for their contribution to the country. Minister of Health, Dr. the Honorable Michael Darville, said he was excited to be a part of this transformative exercise. He thanked the nurses for their dedication and commitment to the Bahamian people and said that they play a significant role in the welfare of the country.
Our relationship has definitely grown. And today, I am so pleased to be able to sign, along with the PHA, this agreement with the Nurses Union. Nurses account for the backbone of the healthcare services. And as minister, I've had the opportunity to meet nurses from Inaugural all the way to Grand Key, in our hospitals, in our clinics here in New Providence and Grand Bahama. And I always say that with a mantra fighting for you, things will get done. It's a 24-hour day for a mantra, and 1 o'clock in the morning you will get a voice note about 10 minutes long. And one time I told a mantra, I said, you got to keep it to 1 minute. I don't have that concentration span. But nonetheless, with the support of Obie Ferguson, the support of our team, our permanent secretary, Bernard Evans. Give it up for Bernard Evans, because I have learned a lot from him, and the entire team understand what it is to be at the bargaining table and to be able to come up with a working solution that is good for the government and is also good for the nurses. Our nurses have been through a lot. They have contributed tremendously. They have been in the midst of the pandemic. We have lost some in the process. And my job now as minister is to rebuild those relationships, bring us closer together, working very diligently to improve the work environment, not only for our nurses, but for our clients, the Bahamian people who we're privileged to serve. And so today, I am so pleased to be here, to be a part of this signing process, and to say to every nurse throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the government of the Bahamas is very appreciative of what you have done for the Bahamian people. And our Prime Minister has been the driving force behind the entire process, behind the scene. I would like to join Amantia and commending him for his dedication to the affairs of this country and his ability to unravel complex issues as it relates to government and our workforce. We stand with the unions. That was clear with the memorandum of understanding that we did sign while in opposition.
Managing Director of the PHA, Albinette Roll, and Chairman of the Board of the PHA, Andrew Edwards, both thanked the nurses for their hard work and said that the signing marks the beginning of meaningful discussions and cooperation in the future. Mr. Edwards said this is the first of several contracts the government will be signing. He said that there are 4 unions representing workers. President of the Bahamas Nurses Union, Amantia Williams, commended the government, especially the Prime Minister, for his compassion and understanding and said that this contract was one of the best ever signed. She also thanked the nurses of Grand Bahama and the Bahamian people for their support.
On behalf of the Bahamas Nurses Union, we say thank you to our Prime Minister. You know, we are so grateful for the Prime Minister. He is so soft-hearted, and sometimes we don't know when you have a Prime Minister like that. You need to do what you have to do. He is soft-hearted. He's listening to everyone. We showed up in Grand Bahama and we say, and he come right over to us. Where do you find in the world a Prime Minister like that? Anytime, he said to me and Ms. Cox, he said, let everybody do their work. He said, but if you're not pleased, then you come and you see me. We didn't need to see the Prime Minister no more. Everybody here around this table did their work, and we are proud to say that. And so today we say thank you. We're grateful. We say thank you to our families that supported us. Nights when we couldn't sleep and making noise, we say thank you for being there for us and cooking the little soup to make us feel better, and say the battle is not ours, it's the Lord's. So I say thank you to everyone.
We did it, Grand Bahama. Those were the sentiments of Minister of Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, during the closing ceremonies of the Anita Doherty North American, Central American, and Caribbean Athletic Association Open Track and Field Championships on Sunday night at Grand Bahama Sporting Complex. Thank you so much for being a part of history, and we've proven that if the opportunity presents itself again, we will be able to pull it off again, Minister Moxie said, as fireworks erupted into the night sky, signaling the end of the three-day international meet. Asked how she would describe the end of the three-day meet, Minister Moxie simply called it a success. She said it was an amazing feeling to see Grand Bahama successfully pull off an international meet at this magnitude. It feels like Grand Bahama is on the right track, Minister Moxie said, whilst dancing with the Junkanoo music. It feels like a new day for Grand Bahama with events and entertainment, which we have outlined in our Blueprint for Change. I am excited about today because it is only the beginning and it will only get better. Members of the National Insurance Board of Directors, the National Insurance Board Executive Management Team, the officials of the Public Managers Union successfully concluded negotiations on a new industrial agreement for the management staff of NIB with the signing of a new 5-year agreement. The signing took place Wednesday, August 24, 2022, in the NIB boardroom located in the Sir Clifford Darling complex. Matt Mora has more.
Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for the National Insurance Board, the Honorable Miles K. LaRota, called the successful conclusion to the negotiations a major feat. Mr. LaRota said the Davis administration was purposeful in ensuring that negotiations were concluded in the best interests of all parties.
This is a major feat considering that the initial process commenced in June of 2020 amidst challenges and impact of a global pandemic. First official negotiations commenced January 18, 2021. This administration acted purposely in discussions with management and representatives of the PMU over the last 7 months to bring negotiations to a harmonious conclusion with an agreement that is fair to the hard-working management staff of the National Insurance Board and in the best interest of the National Insurance Fund.
State Minister LaRota said the agreement, which is for 5 years, addressed 14 financial articles, among other provisions.
The agreement addressed issues that were important to the managers, including promotions, salary increases, performance evaluations, training, health and safety. We reiterate our pleasure in concluding this agreement that positively impacts our managers, who are key to facilitating the efficient operations of the National Insurance Board while protecting the National Insurance Fund. It is important that our internal stakeholders feel valued for the important service they provide to Bahamians throughout the Commonwealth. It is with this mission in mind that we are unified as we continue to work collectively, reshaping National Insurance Board's future and fulfilling our vision to be a sustainable and reliable financial support system that consistently delivers on its promises.
Chairman of the Board of Directors of the National Insurance Board, Mr. Philip McKinsey, said while it was safe to say that neither party got all that either asked for, it was equally safe to say that the interests of the employees of the board and the delivery of service to the public were of paramount consideration for both sides.
The shared objective during the negotiation then was to amicably conclude negotiations and bring focused attention to the mandate of the National Insurance Board. In the months leading to the day, I'm reminded of the saying, to be on the same page, we must be in the same boat. During meetings and conversation with the leadership of the Managers Union, it was clear we were on the same boat. The effort going forward was to get on the same page.
Public Managers Union President Frida Cassandra Cartwright-Lewis said the union was relieved to be at this stage of the process.
It is important that we recognize the value that the staff bring to any organization, and in particular our country's social security system. It is important that we ensure that people are properly compensated for the services that they provide. Make no mistake, we do recognize all of the challenges that the board is confronted with. But we also must be mindful that in order for this to work, there has to be proper partnership as we look forward to improving the services of the National Insurance Board and improving all the other challenges that the board has faced and will face.
State Minister LaRota reiterated the Davis administration's pleasure in concluding the agreement, one which he said has a twofold effect as it positively impacts managers who are key to facilitating the efficient operations of NIB, while at the same time protecting the National Insurance Fund. It is with this mission in mind that all parties remain unified as they continue to work collectively to reshape NIB's future while fulfilling the board's vision of being a sustainable and reliable financial support system that consistently delivers on its mandate. For Your Government in Action, I'm Matt Moore.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. Dr. the Honorable Michael Darville recently visited the nation's second city to do a walkabout assessment of the clinics. Tammy Dean tells us more.
The government of the Bahamas is prioritizing the health and wellness of its people, and part of its objective is shoring up the capacity of the country's healthcare system. Recently, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. the Honorable Michael Darville, accompanied by a team of engineers, quantity surveyors, and others directly related to the country's healthcare needs, spent the day touring clinics on Grand Bahama Island from West End to East End, assessing those facilities, making notes and taking measurements to determine the structural state and other needs of those facilities. That recent tour of Grand Bahama Island, as well as tours of Bimini and Great Harbor Key, revealed a number of deficiencies, both in structural and resource needs at clinics throughout the northern Bahamas, and is part of a mandate to assess health assets nationwide, enabling those providing healthcare services with the properly functioning facilities they need in order to deliver the best possible service.
When we look at our blueprint for change, it is clearly documented where we're heading in healthcare transformation. We came out of a very tough pandemic. A lot of the existing buildings have been run down, and there needs to be a lot of work and a lot of resources pumped into it. On coming to office, we have access to 2 IDB loan facilities. These IDB loan facilities are responsible and would help us to do the necessary renovation and construction of new clinics throughout the Family Islands. What I am doing right now, our new budget came into operation. And so I'm going through the Family Islands to look at the state of our clinics and to use funding from my line item in my capital works budget to start the work. The people of the Bahamas should know that with the IDB loan facility, that particular money will come into effect the end of this year, early next year, and major works, inclusive of construction of additional clinics throughout the Family Islands, would begin. We also here with our team to look at what are some of the manpower deficiencies, safety, security, custodial staff, additional nursing, practical nurse assistants, and the list goes on and on. And we are discussing that, and I'm pleased to say in our administration, for the Family Islands, inclusive of Grand Bahama, the government has approved some 478 workers that need to be trained. We are in the process of training additional emergency EMT specialists that would help us with appropriate ground transportation. We're moving very quickly. We have a lot of work to do in a short period of time, and the residents of Grand Bahama could be reassured that we will get to this work here in Grand Bahama as soon as possible.
For Your Government in Action, I'm Tammy Dean.
The Ministry of Works and Utilities conducted a walkabout of the Village Road project. Carissa Williamson tells us more.
Launched in January 2022, the Village Road project is a part of the Government of the Bahamas' mission to carry out much-needed infrastructural renewal in the older communities of New Providence. Minister of Works and Utilities, the Honorable Alfred Sayers, said the project, once completed, will make the roadway more efficient while improving the quality of life for homeowners, residents, students, teachers, and business owners alike. Minister Sayers, who was accompanied on the walkabout by Parliamentary Secretary Bacchus Roll, Permanent Secretary Luther Smith, and other ministry officials, said the end result of the project will be more efficient infrastructure for the area.
There are some additional works which are being scoped related to installing a roundabout in the front of Queen's College and the Bahamas National Trust. We will be meeting with both of those stakeholders to discuss further what is intended in order to make this roadway more efficient and also improve the quality of life, not only of the residents in this community, but also the guests who come as students, teachers to Queen's College, and also guests and patrons to the National Trust and the other commercial establishment along Village Road.
Aubrey Simonet, contract coordinator from the Ministry of Works, gave a detailed outline of the scope of works for the project.
This project entails the installation of about roughly a mile worth of a PPL duct bank. That's actually 16 pipes. So it's 15 6-inch pipes and one 4-inch pipe. It involves the installation of a water main, which is an 8-inch water main, running the entire length of Village Road as well. We've got the improvements to several junctions, one being St. Andrews and Village Road, one being Pargate and Village Road. We're doing some lane widening. We're adding turning lanes to improve the flows. We're also adding new smart traffic signals, video camera traffic systems at Pargate Road and Village, at Shirley Street and Village, as well as at East Bay Street and Village as well, all with a view to improve the efficiency of the traffic flowing. So it'll be adaptive. It'll be able to say, okay, traffic flows like this. Okay, I'm going to reprogram the lights so there's less delays for everybody.
The project will also entail the construction of a roundabout in the area of Queen's College that will improve the flow of traffic in the area while enhancing safety for students and other pedestrians.
The reason why we thought a roundabout would be ideal to suit is because the current situation, it has a lot of turning movements where there's conflicts and there's points of which cars can potentially crash, and also creates a danger for pedestrians. So the placement of the roundabout would require us to do some demolition, some relocation of walls, some relocation of vegetation, and then once that is done, the roundabout would improve the efficiency flow of the Village Road and also improve safety for motorists and pedestrians alike, most of which are children at the very end, because it's a school zone after all.
Minister Sayers thanked the many stakeholders for their extraordinary cooperation and courtesy during the project.
I want to say thank you for the extraordinary cooperation that we have received and the courtesy that is being demonstrated by motorists as they are diverted from familiar roadways to side roads and so on. And the reports that I've gotten from Mr. Simonet is that the stakeholders have been extraordinarily cooperative, and I want to thank all of the stakeholders, apologize for any inconvenience, but by November we will have dramatically improved road, sidewalks, and more efficient infrastructure along this very central pathway.
That is all for this week. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next week for another edition of Your Government in Action. I'm Joy Burns-Roget. Good evening.